The General Data Protection Regulation, every processing of personal data requires a legal ground, and this can either be an informed consent of the data subject, or it is already stated someplace in the law, and the General Data Protection Regulation already provides a series of these legal grounds in Article 6. And usually these are more or less bound to certain purposes. So processing of public authorities usually are bound to the tasks performed by the public authority, and this is similar in the private environment. So there's always a certain purpose behind processing, and this leads us to the next point, which is the purpose binding principle. Each processing must be bound to a certain purpose, and it is not allowed to use data which has been collected for a certain purpose in an entirely different purpose. The GDPR now opens up towards the previous legal situation we had, that their purpose changes are possible whenever the processing has been laid on one of the legal foundations and not on consent. For any other purpose that is compatible with the purpose for which the personal data has been initially collected. So there is an opening clause here which allows easier change of purposes and broader processing. This might, for example, be very useful for big data analysis and other areas. So this is to some extent a gift to data controllers, but on the other hand, consent is excluded from this rule, and nevertheless there needs to be a weighing also between, while evaluating whether a purpose is compatible. So in the field of informed consent, this will not work, and therefore we would need in the future a solution to obtain and renegotiate consent in a flexible way. And it would be very useful, for example, to have the consent expressed in a computer readable way that is easily and quickly communicated. And for this, we need to express policies and purposes in a computer readable way, including expressions as to obligations, what must be done or must not be done with the data, which would be then the prohibition, and also constraints with conditions. So you may do this with the data under this condition, or if this is a given, you must not do this. And such a policy language is currently developed and should lead towards a specification for such a system, negotiating not only a new informed consent, but also exchanging information for the right to object in accordance to Article 21. This is part of the research project special, to which the ULD is also partner. And in the slides you'll find a link to the recent results of that project.